Okay, guys, we've got one more sermon in the stressed series. Sermon number 4 in the series is what we call future stress, or what Jesus called worrying about tomorrow. So we're going to key this off of the passage in Matthew chapter 6 where Jesus said, "So I tell you, don't worry about tomorrow and what it'll bring you," and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so here are some of the deep thoughts in this particular sermon. See if you can't connect with them. Obviously, in the intro, and there's not going to be a sermon intro, so you'll have to bring some of this in yourself. But as you define future stress, maybe connect to it personally, help people to think about, yeah, I feel that kind of stress when I think about, an illness or death, or when I think of money issues, or when I think of my safety, or when I think of ISIS or whatever. So there's a lot of ways you can set this up, hook people, try to get them to understand, yeah, I can relate to this, right? This is very relatable for everybody. So worrying about tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about in that passage in Matthew 6 where Jesus talks about the eye being the lamp to the body. And here, I want to make sure you get this so that you can articulate this clearly. I call this a vision problem. I think that's what Jesus is saying here, is that we're focused on the wrong things when we stress about the future. So if you think about the idea of vision is what the future holds, right? Well, Jesus said your eye is a lamp to the body, and when your eye is good, your body's filled with light. When your eye is bad, or when your focus, or when your vision is bad, in other words, when what you're looking at down the road is bad, then that's the core root of the problem, is your focus is off, right? I think that's what Jesus is talking about. And so this kind of stress is eye-opening for us, because it really, what that means is it comes from our own powerlessness and insecurity. And this relates back to week number 1 and the kind of the theme of the whole series, which is the edge that we have as Christians is that we can trust in God in the midst of a stressful situation. So this last sermon really hits home, right? Like, are you willing to trust in God when you think about your future? You should. If you're a follower of Jesus, you should, right? So when we're stressed out about our future, it's rooted in our powerlessness and insecurity, like King Jehoshaphat, right? He realized he couldn't do anything about it. And that was a good thing, because it taught him to trust and depend on God. It taught him that he is not as strong as he thought he was. Okay? So we're going to finish super practically 3 steps for dealing with stress. And it comes from Matthew 6:33, where Jesus said, seek the kingdom of God, number 1, live righteously, number 2, and he'll give you everything you need, number 3. So we're breaking it down into step 1 is seek God first. Step 2 is live righteously now. Don't just wait for the future. Like, honor God today, right? That's step number 2. And step number 3, receive what God gives you. In other words, trust that the future is in his hands, and sort of submit yourself to the God who holds the future, because you sure don't hold the future. So that's the idea. Again, a lot of great little things this is a real powerful, simple sermon. It's got a lot of good little nuggets in it. So I encourage you to connect to it and continue to develop this sermon. And let me just say, I'll be ending my sermon with a story video from John and Rhonda Bellis up at Logan at Alpine Church. And they talk about, it's a 3-minute video. I'm going to end my sermon with it. The download is on the lesson page if you want to download it and use it at the end of your sermon, and really at the end of the series. It's just a powerful message of how these two had to trust God with the future of their 4th child, who was born with Down syndrome. And they say it so beautifully, because they basically say, hey, we have to trust God for the first 3. Well, so we have to trust God for this one also. It might look a little different because she has Downs, but just such a poignant story. So I encourage you to use that at the end of your sermon. Again, the download is there. And again, if you want to help, if you have any questions, or you want to add some of your own insights or manuscripts, all of that is on the Google Plus leader page just below this video. So hope you enjoy preaching this sermon and finishing up this stressed series.